Hello MMA fans, this is MMA Daily with your daily news and updates. Here are today's top stories. Starting off, Garry pushes for 5-round UFC 303 co-main event versus Michael Page. Next, Jake Paul versus Mike Perry set for July 20th. Additionally, Sean O'Malley's coach critical of Conor McGregor's sparring partners ahead of UFC 303. Next, Alex Pereira gives honest opinion about Israel Adesanya. Lastly, according to some sources, Alex Pereira versus Yiri Prohaska will replace Conor versus Chandler at UFC 303. Garry wants to raise the stakes in his fight against Michael Page at UFC 303. Garry takes on Page in a welterweight bout June 29th at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Garry versus Page is currently listed as the main card opener, but Garry wants the fight bumped up. He also proposed the fight be made 5 rounds. Talking to the media here is what he said. "I just finished a really good training session. I'm feeling fresh, I'm feeling ready. I just did 5 rounds. I'm gonna get on the phone to Hunter Campbell and the UFC today, and let's push for a 5-round co-main for this. Let's push it. Michael Venom Page, get ready for 25 minutes of pain." Jake Paul will face another former UFC standout, Mike Perry, for his professional boxing return on July 20th. Happy Punch was the first to report the news of the Paul versus Perry fight. A formal announcement is expected to be made on Wednesday by Paul and Most Valuable Promotions. Perry recently turned down an offer to fight on the Paul versus Mike Tyson undercard on the same date against an undisclosed opponent. Now, he gets the chance to clash with Paul in one of the biggest boxing fights of the summer. It's uncertain what the contracted weight and number of rounds will be for the reported Paul versus Perry fight. This will be Perry's second professional boxing fight after a knockout loss to Kenneth McNeil in 2015. What do you think about the fight between Perry and Paul? Are you excited to see it, and who do you think will win? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Sean O'Malley's coach Tim Welch has analyzed Conor McGregor's UFC 303 training footage, and while he likes what he sees, he does have some concerns about the quality of sparring partners Conor is working with. McGregor is set to face Michael Chandler on June 29th, or at least that's the original plan. Everything feels up in the air since the UFC canceled a Dublin press conference hours before it was set to start. Rumors of a McGregor injury are swirling. Reports of the UFC sending out feelers for a replacement are kicking into high gear again. Amidst all this, McGregor released a series of training videos to reassure fans of his dedication to preparing for the bout. So, how does Conor look? Tim Welch, O'Malley's coach, analyzed Conor's training footage. Here's what he had to say. "I don't know these guys he's sparring. You can't see who they are with headgear. I mean, they're probably not going to be near the athlete Michael Chandler is, and it looks like in some of these sparring videos that some of these guys are a little bit scared of him. A little bit scared and a little bit intimidated by him, and he's stalking them down, hunting them down. Sometimes that can be good. When you're fighting and you're the man in the room and you're tuning everybody up, everyone's scared of you, then you get in this cage with this high level of confidence and go out there and piece them up. Compare that to training with really good guys all the time and you're getting beat up all the time and you're maybe winning some rounds, maybe not winning some rounds. They're taking you down, they're submitting you, then you go in that cage not near as confident. There's some pluses and minuses to both. What do you think? Who will win if this fight between Conor and Chandler happens? Share your opinions in the comments below. UFC light heavyweight champion Alex Pereira has given his thoughts on Israel Adesanya's impending return to the octagon. As we know, Alex Pereira and Israel Adesanya have had quite the rivalry in combat sports. They fought twice in kickboxing with Pereira going 2-0, and in mixed martial arts, they're currently locked at 1-1. Pereira managed to shock the world and defeat Adesanya in their first UFC meeting. Alas, in their rematch, it was Adesanya who was stood tall at the end of the night after a magnificent comeback knockout. While Pereira is enjoying life at 205 pounds, Adesanya is preparing for his return to the cage with rumors suggesting it'll come against Dricus. In a recent interview, Alex reflected on the impact that his fights against Adesanya have had on the latter's career. Here is what he said. "Adesanya is not the same fighter after our bout. I believe I shattered his confidence and now he fights differently. He avoids engaging in exchanges and spends more time running around the octagon. You saw in his fight against Strickland that he was scared the entire time, lacked confidence, and eventually lost. Honestly, I don't know what to expect from Adesanya anymore, but he's not the same fighter. I've had a significant impact on his career." Yiri Prohaska claims to have signed a contract for his next fight. The former light heavyweight champion seemingly secured himself another title shot when he knocked out Alexander Rakic and won a $300,000 bonus at UFC 300 in April. Alex Pereira, who dethroned him at UFC 295 last November, still holds the light heavyweight belt and has been without an opponent since stopping Jamal Hill on the landmark card. Prohaska was in the crowd at Octagon 58 on Saturday night. night, and during a cage-side interview, he teased a fight announcement, but stopped short of naming his opponent or revealing a return date. Here is what he said. "I would also like to announce that I have signed something, but we will have to wait, because again, my organization is a bit late with it, so I hope that in a few days we will know, and it will be out there, and we will go for it." Prohaska's interviewer predicted that Yiri and Pereira will headline UFC 303 on June 29th, which is set to feature Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler. Yiri did not deny this rumor. He just smiled when he heard it, which could suggest that this fight might indeed be the one to save the UFC 303 event if the bout between Conor and Chandler doesn't happen. Rumors about McGregor's comeback fight being called off have been rife since a UFC 303 launch press conference in Dublin was cancelled at the last minute. On Tuesday, Ariel Helwani added fuel to the fire with a worrying update. He claimed there is more pessimism than ever about the fight taking place as the UFC is putting out feelers for replacement fights. It remains to be seen what will happen with Conor and whether he will actually fight at UFC 303. If not, then a fight between Pereira and Prohaska might be a logical solution for the UFC. What is your opinion? Will Conor actually fight at UFC 303, and if he doesn't, which fight would be worthy to replace Conor versus Chandler? Dana White has harsh words for the MMA media, calling them stupid for ranking Islam Makhachev ahead of Jon Jones in the pound-for-pound rankings. Recently, Islam was awarded the top spot in the pound-for-pound rankings, pushing current heavyweight champion Jon Jones down to number 2. Islam secured this position after defeating Dustin by submission last Saturday night at UFC 302, retaining his UFC lightweight champion status. Following this victory, a panel of media members voted Islam into the number 1 spot in the pound-for-pound rankings. Dana White is offering up his take on the change in pound-for-pound rankings, and he's not impressed that Jones was moved to number 2. Here is what he said while speaking to the media. "The fact that Jon Jones is number 2 on the pound-for-pound list just goes to show how stupid the media votes on that. It just goes to show you that they have no idea. They know nothing about this sport. Jon Jones has never lost a fight ever. And when you talk about what it really means to be pound for pound, Alexander Volkanovski moved up, and it was a very close fight the first time versus Islam. Jon Jones moved up and absolutely decimated the greatest heavyweight that was out there right now. If Cyril Gane doesn't go for that armbar, he beats Francis Ngannou and becomes the heavyweight champion. Jon Jones walked through Gane like it was nothing. Jon Jones is the baddest dude to ever be involved in combat sports. Kayla Harrison versus Amanda Nunes might not be out of the question just yet. A bout between Harrison and the former 2-division champion has been discussed for years, with Harrison dominating in the PFL before recently joining the UFC. The fact that the two had trained together at American Top Team in Florida only added to the intrigue. Amanda retired in June 2023 following a dominant decision win over Irene Aldana at UFC 289, 10 months before Harrison debuted at UFC 300 with an impressive submission of former champion Holly Holm. Harrison's manager Ali Abdelaziz is now suggesting that Amanda's retirement had as much to do with Harrison's ascension as it did Amanda being satisfied with her career. Here is what he said. "You have to understand, Amanda did everything. She retired because Kayla was coming to the UFC. She trained a couple of times with Harrison, and whatever happened in the training room happened, and she never wanted to train with Kayla again. She didn't want to spar with Kayla again. She starts training by herself away from the team. Every time Kayla comes to the gym, she left. She has a lot of pride in her. She retired because of Kayla Harrison, and now she said she wants to come back. I don't think she ever comes back, but if she comes back, that'll be amazing." Thank you for tuning in to MMA Daily. We hope you enjoyed today's coverage of the world of mixed martial arts. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to get notifications for our latest videos. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below and let us know what you'd like to hear about in our upcoming videos. See you tomorrow with more MMA news. Until then, stay safe and keep following MMA Daily for your daily dose of fighting excitement.